What is going on, everybody? Today, we're going to take a look at Baltimore Ravens linebacker Trenton Simpson, who got the start yesterday for the Baltimore Ravens. The guy had a phenomenal game. Play in, play out, the guy was making plays. We're going to start right here. We'll talk a little bit about his coverage first. The guy was all over it, man. You see a play here where the Baltimore Ravens are in a cover 4 defense, and you'll see Simpson do a really good job being able to get underneath the wide receiver and break the pass up. For me to be able to see a linebacker do this to a pretty solid wide receiver is impressive. He's going to get his hands on the wide receiver here. He's going to come into your screen here on the right, and he's going to get underneath this, and he's going to get the left hand in there. He's going to break the pass up. That's an incredible play right there by a second-year linebacker who, in my opinion, has a ton of upside. In my opinion, he's going to become a really, really good linebacker, and I'm excited for this video, man. Let's just get right into the tape. So one of the important reasons to watch tape is because with the broadcast angle, you're not always able to see what's happening downfield. You're not always able to see what the quarterback wants to do, and then you don't see what the defense is doing either. So again, one of the important things with watching tape is you're able to see kind of the entire field. Now, on this play here specifically, you're going to see Patrick Mahomes actually take the ball and look to throw it towards his right. And as he's thinking about potentially throwing this here to the right, you see right away he's going to look to that side. Watch Simpson react here. Watch Simpson quickly get out in front of it, and Mahomes recognizes this and decides that Simpson's too close to the tight end here. And on this play, the quarterback can actually throw the football. So in my opinion, Trenton Simpson was making plays that might otherwise have kind of gotten overlooked. You know, he does a really good job in coverage. He does a really good job staying within range. And on this one here, Mahomes ends up just throwing the ball away. So that's a pretty good job right there by the linebacker. Let's get into the next snap. All right, guys, check this play out. You're going to once again get a cover 4 defense. And essentially what that means is Simpson here is going to have to play the vertical hooks or the flashes, depending on who ends up releasing over to his side. And he's going to do a really, really good job here. Recognizing that no one's on his side, he's going to also recognize that the quarterback tries to run. And he's going to follow the quarterback. And the quarterback sees all that. And he tries to throw it over the head of Trenton Simpson. And Simpson, of course, on this play is going to break the pass up. This was 3rd and 10. This is a phenomenal play, in my opinion, by Simpson. To be able to knock the ball down the way he does here, I mean, that's absolutely incredible. That is such a smart play right there by Simpson. And the thing with this play is if Simpson does not break this pass up, if he is not able to knock this incomplete, if you guys look at the wide receiver that's going to end up running across the middle of the field, to me, this is a big play. Right, because it's cover 4, so the corner at the bottom is going to take the wide receiver. Simpson here does have the vertical hooks. It is technically his responsibility. But you see the wide receiver running right here free. And if the pass is completed, I mean, that's a big gain. Maybe even a touchdown, depending on if the receiver gets some blocks downfield. So again, Trenton Simpson is making the smart play on these. And you know, some people will say, well, he should have just stuck in his coverage as opposed to going towards the quarterback. I disagree. Right? I think the smart thing in this moment, keep in mind, you know, we're watching this in slow motion. We're watching this play back to back. You know, Simpson has to process this stuff in real time, and he's doing a phenomenal job being able to make the right decision, understanding what could potentially happen and making sure that does not happen. Because on this play, what could potentially happen is a guy could get into his zone, and Mahomes could potentially hit him. And he recognizes that. He's able to get the hands up, and he's able to break the pass up. Phenomenal job right there by Simpson. Let's go ahead and get to the next snap. Alright, you guys, check this play out. So the Ravens are going to come out in a cover 1 rat, and essentially Simpson's going to be that rat defender. And he's going to not only, you know, cover his ground, but he's also going to end up spying the quarterback. Now, this play is interesting because the rat defender here could change depending on which way the running back goes. One of the 2 linebackers has to pick up the running back. So if the running back releases out here, it'll be Simpson. But on this instance, the running back's going to end up releasing towards the top, and then in that instance, Roquan ends up picking him up. But with that, what happens is one linebacker is going to end up taking the running back as opposed to the other. And Simpson then has to not only get into some sort of coverage, maybe contain the middle of the field as much as possible, but he also is then responsible for Patrick Mahomes. And he's going to do a good job being able to get to Mahomes. Now, I'm not sure if this one actually goes down as a sack for him or for one of the other guys, but you can see that he does a good job making sure that Mahomes is not able to pick up extra yards. This was 1st and 10, so it's a really, really good job by Simpson to be able to kind of take that away and make sure Mahomes is not able to pick up those yards. Let's go ahead and get to the next snap. You got another one, pretty much the same exact play. Simpson, once again, is going to end up not only being that rat defender, but he also has to spy the quarterback. And once again, he does a great job staying within range. He does a great job not allowing Mahomes to get a quick completion over the middle of the field. Notice how he opens up the hips towards the strong side of the formation. You have a couple of tight ends coming to the inside here as well as here. And Simpson does a good job just kind of staying right there, making sure those guys are not going to be able to catch the pass. And the second he recognizes that Mahomes is trying to run, he's going to attack. Now, this play ends up picking up 13 yards anyways because Patrick Mahomes is able to get the ball out to the tight end. But Simpson, once again, does a really, really solid job in my opinion. Let's go ahead and get to the next snap. Now, obviously in coverage, Trenton Simpson is very, very solid, right? I think that's the one thing that this guy has been known for over the course of his career. He moves really well. He's able to get out in space. He's able to process and recognize coverages. He's able to follow guys and just do everything you want in coverage. But I think the big question mark that a lot of Baltimore Ravens fans had was, how was this guy against the run? You know, was he solid on a down-to-down basis? Was he not solid? I felt like he did a pretty good job getting off of blocks, getting around blocks. Simpson is obviously not the strongest linebacker. You know, if you compared Simpson to Smith, they're kind of opposite linebackers. Smith's going to be a little bit more physical. Simpson is going to be a little bit more based off of the quickness, making guys miss. Here's an example of that, right? He's able to kind of just avoid the block. You have a tight end coming on the wham block, number 83 here. And not that Simpson's his guy, but if Simpson flashes early enough, the tight end might ultimately chop Simpson. So Simpson's kind of able to just stay away from that. He gets in there, he makes the play. This play only picked up about a yard. So it's a pretty good job right there. And then on this next one here, you're going to have an outside zone towards the left. And Simpson, once again, is going to be able to recognize, read it, process everything that's kind of going on. And he's going to do a pretty good job being able to make the play. Now, this play does pick up about 4 yards. So a little bit more than what you want to give up on a play, but he still does a good job being able to, essentially get past the block. If 76 here, the left tackle, does a better job climbing up to Simpson, if he's able to actually get around here and he's able to hook off Simpson, this play pops for maybe 30, 40, 50 yards. So Simpson's going to do a good job avoiding the block and kind of getting over the top. If Simpson was half a step slower, 76 would have made the block. But you can see 76 is not able to get to Simpson. He's able to stay over the top. And he's able to just ultimately chase this play down and make the play for just a gain of about 4 yards. It's a pretty good job right there. You got another one here. He's going to have to come downhill to make the play. And he does a pretty good job avoiding the block. Now, these are the type of plays that I think Simpson's going to have to really show us consistently that he can make. It's one thing when a run plays towards the outside and Simpson's able to kind of climb and chase it down. But it's different when teams run power runs or duo runs and Simpson has to come downhill. He has to take an offensive lineman on. Right? It's a completely different ball game, essentially, for linebackers. When it's power or duo or it's some sort of inside run and you have an offensive lineman coming at you, right? You got to be able to get off the block. On this one here, he does a phenomenal job. He's going to use the quickness to get off the block initially. You can see 74 here comes towards Simpson. I don't think 74's block was actually Simpson. I think that was more so of one of these pulling either offensive linemen or tight ends. You got the left guard and tight end number 83 both pulling towards the right. But he does a good job making sure that Taylor does not get to him. And then as the tight end comes, you're going to see him get physical right there. Kind of go through the block and ultimately make the play. This play only picked up about 2 yards. So pretty nice job. Let's get into the next snap. Now, before we wrap the video up, I'm going to go ahead and just look at a couple more plays. We'll look at zone runs first, and then we'll look at power runs second. So let's go ahead and just look at a couple of zone runs. On this one here, Simpson's going to do a pretty good job initially. He's going to end up not making the tackle, but he does avoid the block by the offensive lineman, which in itself is pretty good. You'll see the right guard here is trying to get to Simpson. And Simpson's going to be able to avoid the block, and he's going to be able to actually mirror the running back on this one. So Simpson initially isn't his run fit, right? He does a good job being able to get down into the box, but the running back cuts this to the left, and now Simpson also tries to mirror that. And with that, as he mirrors, the running back cuts it back towards the right. So, you can say he missed his tackle or he didn't make the play, but initially he did do a pretty good job. But ideally, you would like him to wrap the running back up. This play picks up about 4.5 yards. Let's go ahead and get into another zone run. This one here is 2nd and 5, and he's going to do a pretty good job being able to recognize this play. He ends up getting in there and doing a pretty nice job being able to help make the tackle. He isn't the first guy in there, but again, he does avoid the block of the tight end. Number 83 here is going to have a reach block here, and 83 is not going to be able to get there. So again, good job right there being able to kind of get in there. And then this is going to be the final zone run we're going to look at. once again, he's just kind of there. This one only gained 2 yards as well. Another thing we do have to factor in is I think the Ravens have a pretty solid defensive line, and that's always going to make it easier for the linebackers. So again, good job by Simpson to be able to kind of, stay patient, realize that his defensive lineman up front will eat up the double team blocks, and he doesn't have to necessarily jump a gap. Again, his play only picked up about 2 yards, so that's a pretty good job right there. Now we got a couple of power runs we'll go ahead and get into. This one here, Simpson's going to end up getting locked in by Creed Humphrey. The play picks up about 4 yards, and these are the type of plays that Simpson will have to get better at. Now again, Creed Humphrey is probably the best center in the NFL, but you can also see that Simpson does try to bench press Humphrey. He is trying to keep Humphrey off of him, but he isn't going to be able to get around the block, and he's really not doing that good of a job to be able to get around it. But that's expected, right? These are the improvements that Simpson will have to make. You're going to get another power run. Simpson, to me, does not read this right. I think he tries coming underneath it. And maybe this is okay for him to do, but if you guys keep an eye here on the center, right guard, and right tackle, what's going to end up happening is the right guard is going to actually pull. The center is going to down block. The tackle is going to down block. And what that means is the D end, D tackle are going to have the 2 gaps to their right, essentially. Which means Simpson has to be able to flow over the top here. And he's not going to. Instead, he's going to end up shooting the gap. And the thing is, when he shoots this gap here, you got 2 guys essentially in 1 gap. So you don't really want that to happen. Again, it's not a huge deal, right? Maybe this is a coaching point that it's okay for him to shoot the gap. Maybe you want him to get over the top. The play picks up about 6 yards. Not a huge deal, but I did want to point it out that when it comes to Simpson running sideline to sideline, he's a phenomenal linebacker. When guys are trying to cut him off, he is not going to allow that to happen. On this play here, you're going to get a run towards the left, right? You get a pin pull. And the guy that's trying to block Simpson's not going to be able to block him. He's going to get off the block the way he does on this one. This is what you would expect from Simpson. And this is what he's great at. He's great against zone runs. He's great running sideline to sideline. And he has to develop on taking guys on in power concepts. But I do think it's something he can continue to get better at, and he will improve it. Plus, do not underestimate this guy's coverage ability. Trenton Simpson is a phenomenal linebacker in coverage. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, consider subscribing. My goal for this channel is to do at least 2 film breakdowns of the Baltimore Ravens every single month, and we'll potentially try to get that up to about 3 to 4, which would be about a weekly video for the Ravens. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time with another video.